In the past few years, the whole 8-8 Lionsgate has kind of come out of nowhere, claiming to be astrological, but really having no basis in astrology that I or any of the best astrologers I know of can find, except for maybe one. So today we're talking about, is Lionsgate actually a thing? Welcome to the Mainly Moonology podcast. I'm your host, Yasmin Boland, an award-winning astrologer and the Sunday Times best-selling author of books including Moonology and creator of the Moonology Oracle cards. My intention for this podcast is to help you understand how you can create your dream life using mainly Moonology, the moon, as your guide. So the first thing I did was I thought of two astrologer friends of mine who would probably come down on one or the other sides. My idea was, let me hear what the best of the best have to say in the defense of Lionsgate or anti-Lionsgate, and then I can make up my own mind. I started off by doing some confirmation bias. I'll admit, I don't think it's astrology. Well, it's not really astrology, and I don't really think it's got a place being touted around as astrology. You know, if you look at metro.co.uk and do a search in there for Lionsgate, you'll find an article which starts off by absolutely 100% invoking astrology. The article is called "The Lionsgate Portal is the annual spiritual event that won't make things go wrong." And this is written last year, August 2021. And it starts off, breathe. This isn't like a Mercury retrograde. So, you know, they are definitely dragging astrology into it. So the first person I spoke to, and this is literally just because this is how it went when I asked these beautiful, wonderful astrologer friends of mine to give me their side of the story, was Kelly Surtees. Now, Kelly and I go back, probably decades at this point. She's an amazing astrologer, always has been. We met more, I think, towards the start of our journey. I've done my thing. She has become one of the foremost astrology teachers in the world. So I thought, okay, who better to ask than Kelly Surtees? What does she think? Now, she is a big thinker and a broad thinker, so she can be some interesting conversation about this, but I'm just going to first of all let Kelly express her bottom line.
In terms of the style of astrology that is widely practiced, particularly in the West, and has been for a couple of thousand years now, something being important just because of this 8/8, that's not astrology.
So I was very happy that Kelly was more or less thinking the same way I was. But let's also have a look at her interpretation of where these ideas may have come from.
One thing that did cross my mind, and I wanted to double check, is that the placement of the sun in the zodiac around the 8th of August each year puts the sun at the middle point of Leo, at the 15-degree part of Leo, of one of the fixed signs. And that 15-degree marker of a fixed zodiac sign, so 15 Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, those placements approximately correlate with the pagan or the Wiccan wheel of the year. These are known as cross-quarter festivals.
At which point, I'm sorry to say, I interrupted Kelly by saying, yes, but again, that's not astrology, is it? And of course, Kelly agreed, that's not astrology. So before we go any further, let's have a look at what the people who love Lionsgate claim it's going to bring us all. Going back to this article in the Metro, which is really one of the mainstream papers of the UK, of the United Kingdom, we are told the Lionsgate portal opens up once a year on August 8 and is often referred to as 8-8. By spiritualists who associate the number with abundance. Now, if people want to say this is a spiritual thing, I am more than happy. They say it presents the opportunity to experience a positive force of energy if you're of this belief. Every year, the portal gives us a chance to evolve, so to speak, and walk into being a more empowered version of ourselves that's living closer to the life that we want to live. So, I'm not really sure what to say about that, apart from whatever it is, It's not astrology. Or is it? I actually mentioned to Kelly that last year when I started to talk about the fact that it's not really astrology, this whole 8-8 Lionsgate thing, someone wrote to me and said, come on, just let us believe what we want to believe. That kind of made me feel bad because, of course, I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. Kelly agreed. She doesn't want to make anyone feel miserable by telling them that 8-8 isn't astrology.
I don't want to stop people believing things that give them hope or give them something to look forward to, but nor do I want you to be looking forward to something that in my tradition is not what you think it might be, or looking forward to something good.
In other words, looking forward to something good when it's just another day. One thing Kelly and I discussed off the interview was the fact that, you know, the sun might be at 15 degrees of Leo one year and then at 16 degrees the following year and then 14 degrees the year after that, because the degree that the sun is on every August the 8th varies a tiny little bit from year to year. So again, you can't even really say it's about the degree of the zodiac. Moreover, if we were to go with Kelly's theory about it somehow marking one of the cross-quarter days, then surely we would have, you know, the 8-8 Lionsgate, and then we'd have the 8-11 for when the sun is at 15 degrees of Scorpio, and the 8-2 for when the sun is at 15 degrees of Aquarius, if we're going to say it's the cross-quarter signs and the position of the sun. Nope, I'm sorry, it's really not adding up for me. But can it? Here's the thing. When I was first learning astrology, one of my earliest unofficial teachers was very, very big on maintaining the integrity of astrology because, you know, people take pot shots at astrology all the time. They make all kinds of claims. They study astrology for 5 minutes. They think they know what they're talking about and they don't. I can think of lots of examples, which I won't name. And I've always been taught that, you know, if we want astrology as a system to survive, as it survived for the last 2,000 years, we have to maintain the integrity. But maybe we need to delve a little deeper.
Well, I think, there's a couple of points there that, you know, if this 8-8 thing is a real thing, the astrological input would say the energy of August 8 is different every year, depending on the other arrangements of the planets, because we've talked about the sun being in a certain place every year. That's the same as having a birthday. But, you know, the kind of birthday or year ahead you have every year is different depending on where the planets are. Now, that's astrology, doing the whole map of the sky and what's the relationship between the planets. And so I think there is some truth to what you're saying, that when things that aren't explicitly astrological kind of drag astrology into them, it can dilute the magic, or if you like, the integrity or the intention, of astrology.
And even the accuracy.
Yeah. People kind of, you know, say things, and, you know, there's going to be in August of 2022 this year, Mars is going to square Saturn on August 7. And that energy will carry over onto August 8 because we know a Mars square Saturn's a few days. That's
it
not
doesn't
a
really
super.
Sound like abundance pouring.
It's not. I mean, if that's what this 8-8 Lionsgate is supposed to mean, is abundance, then I would say it would be very limited, or it's not going to deliver this year with a Mars square Saturn. That is delivering more frustration or effort or reality check. In ancient astrology, that's the two malefic or kind of challenging type planets combining, which can be like a double pressure energy or a double challenge.
As Michael Lujan says, if you're beating your head against a brick wall, buy a helmet.
Buy a helmet, exactly. So, I think it's good to know what astrology is and what astrology isn't.
As far as Kelly and I seem to be concerned, this is not astrology. But what does my next guest think? Divine Harmony and I don't go back quite as long as Kelly and I do, but we've known each other for at least 9 or 10 years. We met on the internet, but we've also met in person. Harmony is a US-based astrologer, but she did come and live in Glastonbury for a few months not that long ago with her beautiful daughter, and we met then. I would say that for two female Cancerian moon children astrologers who actually really like each other, we do tend to disagree on a few things every now and then, very nicely, of course. So I thought, as well as asking the wonderful Kelly, what does she think, I thought I would ask Harmony, because I know that she actually enjoys the 8-8 Lionsgate idea. So I asked Harmony, as a great astrologer, I know you're a great astrologer, why do you believe in 8-8 Lionsgate? Believe in inverted commas. Why do you think it's a thing, and why do you think it's got a place in astrology? Honestly, her response was pretty convincing, and actually not all that far from the far more traditional Kelly's point of view in a really roundabout way. Just as Kelly had said that perhaps this all dates back to pre-astrology star law, Harmony was talking about very similar things. It might not be astrology as we know it today, but maybe it's not completely crazy copy and paste internet nonsense.
So for me, Lionsgate is a modern day mystical gateway where the ancient and the modern collide. It's a current era celebration with echoes of the ancient past. And I really, truly believe we need new myths. And it's not just about the old and the past, because the old and the past has gotten us to where we are today. It's about the past and how it intersects with the present and how we need to change myths to alter our future trajectory. So there is a modern energy, but there are cosmic alignments that are completely connected to the 8-8 Lionsgate today, now, at this time in history. And it's actually quite fascinating when you look at the different things that align astronomically. And even when you look at like the Dendera zodiac ceiling from Egypt and you get into different myths, it's actually kind of mind-blowing in my opinion.
So far, so cosmic, but I wasn't going to let Harmony get away with beautiful words. I wanted some hard facts. And I said to her, as astrologers, what we do is we look at charts. And if we look at the chart for the 8th of the 8th this year, we have that Mars-Saturn square that Kelly and I were talking about. And that really doesn't sound like, woohoo, we're all going to have an ascension to the 5th dimension. This was her reply. She invoked Sirius, the star representing the goddess Isis.
First and foremost, it's the heliacal rise of Sirius, which is different based on your longitude and latitude. So, the ancient way of doing astrology before we had computers and could just cast a chart or even hand cast a chart was to look at the sky. And so there's this amazing calculator, culturediff.org, where it's like a PhD has done all this research and made a calculator where you can see where the stars rise. You need to input all your data. And literally right now in Giza in Egypt, where the Lionsgate has a lot of connection to, Sirius rises August 8th. And actually this year, I actually looked at the chart, you're going to see Sirius rise as well as Venus in the morning sky before the sun rises. And Sirius and Venus are the two goddess archetypes connected to Isis, but also more ancient primordial mother goddesses, Sopdet, Neith. There's a lot of divine feminine energy to Sirius. And the heliacal rise of Sirius was really, really important to the ancient Egyptians. It started their new year. It was the timing of the flooding of the Nile. It was this connection to fertility. Normally in like the hot summer, you're not going to have waters flooding, but this particular river did flood, and it provided, all the nourishment for the plants and the people. And so we actually have Sirius rise on 8-8 Lionsgate right now. And it's this particular alignment at this time in this early 21st century that actually is happening because of precession. It slowly will move. So it's going to move to August 9th and August 10th and August 11th. So right now there's that. To me, it's a celebration for the time right now. And then also preceding it, we have a solar gate of Lunasa. It's the after summer solstice, the halfway point between summer solstice and fall equinox. The true solar alignment for that is actually when the sun hits 15 degrees of Leo, which is August 6th to 7th. Yeah. But when you cast the chart for Giza, the sun is still at 15 and change Leo on the day of the rise of Sirius. So we have a solar gateway, we have a stellar gateway. There's like a sun and star alignment with, from our perspective on Earth. And then historically, if you go through, like, there's so many images of these lions gates, and starting with the Aker lions in Egypt, where there's this image of two lions facing two directions, and then there's the sun rising between them. One is looking to the past, one is looking to the future, and it's considered like a lion gate.
At this point, Harmony whipped out her PowerPoint that she prepared for me, which you'll be able to see in the full-length version of this on Facebook, and showed me lots of pictures of goddesses with lions, which obviously it was a beautiful thing to see. And we had Durga with a lion, and we had Cybele with a lion, and we had all sorts of goddesses with lions. How much it proves that Lionsgate is a thing, or is astrological in particular, which is the question of the day, I'm not sure. And in fact, in a funny way, once we'd really had a good talk about it, effectively what Harmony was saying was not that far away from what Kelly was saying when she mentioned that perhaps the whole 8-8 Lionsgate thing dates back to pre-astrology star law. In other words, if it's astrology, it's really not astrology as we know it today.
Well, it's not astrology like tropical Western astrology. It's star-based. If you're looking at the visual sky, it's connected to star lore. But there's also an aspect that's aligning right now with our Earth-based astrology, because tropical is based on the seasons. Yeah. And the solar gate of Lunasaw that happens when the sun crosses 15 Leo is our type of astrology alignment.
I should mention at this point, I don't know many, if any, other astrologers who use the terms solar gate and lunar gates the way Harmony does. It's beautiful, but it's very much her own terms. That said, she is also a regular astrologer.
I am a tropical, Western astrologer, but I also weave in the astronomical living sky. And I kind of see one as like maybe more the masculine and one's more the feminine. So it's this gateway that opens us up to the primordial mother flanked by lions. Like, this is how they read the sky. They didn't look down at a chart and read a chart. They looked up at the sky and read the sky.
Harmony had another very interesting perspective, which was, at the end of the day, we need better myths. All the myths these days are about men going out and killing and raping and decapitating and so on and so forth. So let's have this Lionsgate myth as one of our modern myths. I think that's what she was getting at. And why not?
I personally think we're in a time where we need to evolve our myths, because our mythos of destroying and conquering and dominating is creating problems on the planet. And we need new myths. And part of this is, devotion to and honoring of the divine feminine and the primordial mother. And I know you and I share that deep devotion.
We do.
Now, I do want to say, I've seen so many blogs. You even sent me one of somebody saying, like, there's an alignment of Sirius with the sun and the galactic center. And people like jump on the bandwagon and say some of the weirdest things. And I'm like, no, that's not happening. That's not happening. And so I feel like part of the issue is some people, or maybe a lot, are hearing about Lionsgate, and then they're just like throwing all kinds of things into describing it and explaining it, and they don't know what they're talking about. So I do agree that there is, kind of a lot of stuff to sift through. But I also do believe that this is a holy, sacred time. And I do also believe that it really is about the intention you have behind things, the sacred space you create around yourself. You can obviously, make any day holy if your intention is there. But when there's astronomical alignments and cosmic things happening, it creates like a portal. And to me, Lionsgate does that.
So there we have it. Two interesting opinions from two very learned astrologers. I'm going to give the last word to another very well-known, very well-respected astrologer called Rick Levine. You may know him as Merlin. I think they call him the modern-day Merlin. He wrote this last year about Lionsgate. Unfortunately, it is tempting to buy into the popular notion of this being the Lionsgate portal. Although many apparently reputable authorities have jumped onto this bandwagon, the Lionsgate is a fabricated event and has absolutely no basis in astrology. The term was coined to describe an Aquarius lunar eclipse in 1998. The justifications for it are based on misinterpretations, half-baked facts, and outright fictions. However, power is generated when many minds are focusing on the same thing collectively, even if their synchronization is based on nonsense. So we can derive even more benefit now by meditating on the majesty of the lioness rather than the brute force of the lion. Roar less, love more. I'm going to leave it up to you guys to make up your own mind. For me, I think I'm slightly less cynical than I was. I'm probably going to look into it even further, and I'm definitely going to send some good wishes out to the universe on 8/8. Have a great week. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Mainly Moonology podcast. If you've enjoyed it, please subscribe, give us a review, and we'll be eternally grateful. We publish the podcast every Monday, 4 p.m. UK time, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern, and I'm afraid to say it's silly o'clock in Australia, but it will be there when you wake up on a Tuesday morning. Have a great week.